Hi there, welcome back to another episode of Funny Girl Abroad. This is a second part of the previous episode, which is about how I got lost in Paris, and it's a long story, but ended up being in 2 episodes. So if you're gonna follow everything, you should probably go watch the first episode. Thank you for coming in to watch the second part, and I'm gonna let you do it. I saw not one, but two, and maybe even three, I don't remember very well, but at least two Notre-Dames for sure. None of them, the one. Eventually, I decided to give up and just go back home. I was like, it's fine, I'm gonna come back in a few years and see it. That didn't go very well either, but I think they're fixing it up now, so I don't know, maybe I will see it again soon. And I decided to go back home and rest. And the reason for that is that the same day, very big, very crazy now, but I think back to it time, it was my first stand-up comedy show in English that I had ever done in my life at that point. I was very excited about it, but also quite stressed and quite scared. Now, picture, this is little Aliki. I barely started doing stand-up comedy in Greek, and now I suddenly have this show in English. And it's a proper show, it's a proper showcase. And I was so like self-conscious about it. I remember I texted I mailed the guy that organized them, and I was like, hey, I saw you have the shows. I'd love to do comedy in English to try it out, but I've never done it before in English. I've only done it in Greek for like, I don't know, some months or a year or whatever it was. I don't remember now. Do you have an open mic that I can do? Do you have something? And he was like, oh, no, it's fine. Just come to the showcase. And I was very responsible, so I took this very seriously. Like, I wrote my routine, like maybe even months ahead of time. I rehearsed it very much. I asked the only comedian that I was friends with at the time that had ever done comedy in English before to like check it with me and like listen to it and tell me an opinion or whatever. I really wanted this to go well, because I also felt responsible for the guy that trusted me without ever having seen me before to be on the showcase, on like the main show, when I had just asked to be in the open mic. This is Sebastian Marx, by the way, amazing French comedian, actually American comedian, but in France, and he does comedy. I mean, last time I checked, at least I haven't checked on him in like years. But I suppose he's still in France and is doing his comedy. His comedy is a lot rooted in France and in being an American in France. If you're in France, you should definitely go see him if you haven't already. Amazing comedian and very awesome guy as well. Up until the very last moment, I was still changing stuff, improving stuff, and like and memorizing and like rehearsing again and again. And I wanted to go home and do that for another like few hours before the show. So I went back towards my house. Again, unfortunately, my phone is out of battery, so I don't really have anything, I would say. I remember what's my subway station, but I don't have anything else. I don't have access to like maps. I don't have even the address. The name of the address, I didn't remember it. I had it written down, but I didn't remember it. So I make it to the subway station, and I'm just gonna trust my memory, which is a very bad idea. I'm thinking, hey, I've done this so many times by now. I've already been in this place for like a couple of days already. I've gone in and out with my friend. While we were walking with my friend, did I switch my brain off completely? I mean, maybe an 80%, but there was another 20% that was present, that was like counting streets and like marking points. For example, I remember there is a grocery store. Okay, there's a grocery store right outside my house. I remember that. Or like my friend's house, but I remember that. There's a grocery store. It has so much vegetables. It's hard to miss it, okay? That's too many bananas to miss. It's like bananas and oranges and lemons, and all of those are almost in the middle of the streets in those big, like, wooden crates. They're everywhere. You can't miss that. Worst case scenario, I'm just gonna keep going around in circles in all different squares until I see the vegetables, and wherever the vegetables go, I go. Okay, it's a bulletproof plan. There's nothing that can go wrong with this, obviously. So I start walking around, following the way that I think the place is, and I see no bananas, nothing, no vegetables, no crates. Where's the grocery store? I have no idea. At this point, I'm starting to panic. I'm combing the area like I'm on the Secret Services. I've walked for an hour just around the same streets again and again and again. It's insane. And still nothing. Buildings start to repeat themselves. I'm like, I've been here before, definitely. I remember this. I was just there a second ago. And still no grocery place. I don't see the grocery place. So I have no idea. And imagine how lost and confused and like this in despair I was, that those guys that were in this, I think it was like a bar, maybe a little bit more relaxed, like a beer place, something like that. I see the guys in that bar looking at me and they are concerned. They look concerned. Not at first, maybe at first they look suspicious. They're like, what is going on? What do you want? But then I can see in real time how they go from suspicious to concerned to what is going on with you. Are you running from somebody? Are you okay? So they look at me and they start waving at me and they start going like, are you okay? What are you looking at? Are you looking for somebody? Not what are you looking at, like, hey, what are you looking at? No, it sounded completely wrong. Like, what are you looking for? That's what I meant to say. What are you looking for? Can we help you? You know. And with my tiny bit of friends, I realize that I cannot possibly get any help from them for the simple reason that I do not remember my address because it's on my phone but out of battery. What are you looking for? What are you looking for? And I'm like, home. I'm looking for home. Like as if that's gonna help. Okay, I'm just like the character in this movie, which I don't remember what movie it is, that like gets in the taxi and it's like, where are you going? Home. And the taxi just goes and you're like, well, okay then. I suppose that was enough. I have no idea what movie that was, but yeah, it definitely exists. You see those things in the movies, you say, oh my god, this is so stupid, this is ridiculous, this is crazy. You know what? Everything's out of life. No, this actually pretty relatable, I'm gonna say. Okay, it's completely normal. It can happen to anybody at any time. It happens to me. I tell them I'm going home. I'm looking for my house. Dear sirs, have you seen my house? Any one of you knows where my home is? And of course, you know, everybody asks me if I'm okay and also like if I have any idea about where my house is. And of course, there's a grocery store, so I tell them, you know, there's bananas and oranges and the guy tries to think. It was the guy that owned the place that was there, and he was like, well, you know, just grocery store, I don't know. Starts looking at the Google map from grocery stores nearby to like figure it out. He also tries to calm me down. He's like, hey, you know, it's okay. You can sit here as long as you want. Do you want us to make you a coffee? Do you want a coffee? Do you want a beer? And so they give me a beverage, and I'm like, you know what? It's nice here. They're looking for my place. Never met them before, but they're looking for my place. So they must be nice people. I have no idea. I don't know. I don't understand half of what they say. But hey, I have a corner for myself to keep myself in. I have a chair that I can sit at. I don't have to run around under the hot sun. I can have a glass of something. I'm home. I don't need too much. So I decided to just stay there. And I tell them, you know what, I have a show in the evening. I'm just gonna chill around here and then go straight to my show. Then my friend, whose house I'm staying at, is gonna come to my show. Bada bing, bada boom. Next thing you know, I'm home. What better would I have done at home anyways? Okay, sure, I would have rested, but like, whatever, I'm gonna come home and rest in the evening. I would probably not have rested, to be honest. I don't think I would have rested. I think I would just have rehearsed relentlessly or make pointless just minute changes to my routine again. So it was probably for the best. I just got to get a little bit out of my head, try to speak in French a little bit more. Oh, that was also fun. Everybody in this place, like 2 decades older than me or something. And I pulled out my phone. I was like, hey, does anybody have a charger for this? And everybody was like, oof. What is this? This is a relic. I haven't seen this. I've never seen this before in my life. We were passing it to each other and going like, poof. But I didn't have to worry about making my way to the comedy club because I was so stressed about this. I've looked at the way from the subway to the comedy club so many times. It like, I don't know, it burned into my memory. It got in there in my brain and like made a tattoo of itself, like it shows on Google Maps. It pushed away all of my like stupid childhood memories I don't need anymore. So I can remember 2 streets right, 1 street left, or whatever there is that I really have to remember. So I had a lovely time there. Got to cool off a little bit because it was very hot. I was just walking under the hot sun for so long. I was exhausted. I got to relax a bit. I got to cool off, talk to some humans. All nice. And soon enough, I got on my way to go to the show because I wanted to be there early. So I made my way to the comedy club. I had my show, killed it. It was amazing. It was like extremely entertaining. So it was very much fun for me to do. Turns out it was absolutely the right call to put me in that show. Even though it was my first ever show in English, it was not a problem at all. I got to chat with the guy afterwards. Then he moved some stuff and like gave me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 extra shows. He sent me to some other people that hooked me up for more spots as well. I was unbelievably grateful for that. I was so happy. Just had the best day ever, basically. It's like the best day of my life. What was I lost for like hours and hours and couldn't find my own place? I went to the wrong Notre-Dame. Who cares? Okay, I really don't care. This is just the best day ever. And of course, my friend came to see my show. I met her there. We went together back home. No harm done, you know. I briefly mentioned I was lost for like about 3 hours between like 3 and 6, but like, you know. Then for the days after, my friend was mostly with me, so, you know, no more getting lost. I had the rest of my shows. I had my other shows in English again. I even did some new writing. I wrote some stuff while I was there that I got to test on my next shows. I really started enjoying this comedy in English thing. I really liked it. Already from that time, I knew I would be happy to do it again in the future. But then, of course, I didn't touch it again for another, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years. Everything great. And that is the end. No, I'm kidding. Of course, that's not the end. That is not a fun ending at all. That would be nothing. Here comes the real ending of the story. Okay, so 3 days later or something like that, after I've completely forgot about the whole incident, had a whole different life with my new stand-up comedy shows and my sightseeing and my nice, you know, wine drinking in little cafes in Montmartre with my friend. I'm a completely different person. I am Emily in Paris at this point. I am just coming back to my home, which I know exactly where it is. By the way, let me tell you, I've really nailed this coming back at home business. And as I'm opening the door, I see this guy that is coming out of another door, like next to next to my building, and he is looking at me. And I don't know him, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, but he is, let me tell you, looking at me. Okay, it's not the kind of look that you can't brush this off. You can't be like, oh, maybe he confuses me with somebody else, or like, or maybe I've met him before, but I forgot him. Maybe he was in one of my shows and he's seen me there and he remembered me. No, this is different. Okay, he's looking at me like we were lost siblings. Okay, like we were siblings, but we were separated at the war. And now he's seen me again like 50 years later, and he's about to take out the photo of our mother and the little talismans he gave us. Okay, this is how he's looking at me. He's like, his eyes are big, he's like, his mouth is hanging open, he's in a state of shock. And I don't know him. I do not know him. Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Qu'est-ce que tu veux? Allez, whatever comes to mind. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. And he keeps going. C'est moi. C'est moi. Ici. C'est ici. C'est moi. I'm like, but I don't know you. Who are you? And then I look inside the place that he's pointing at, and it's the bar. It's the place. The chills, literal chills, as I'm saying this. This is the place that I was at all this time when I got lost. This is the place, and it's right next to my house. And I'm like, but how? And I turn around to point him at the grocery store, because my place, of course, like I said, it's right next to the grocery store, but has all those bananas and blah, 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 blah. I point at the grocery store. The grocery store is not there. Why? Because it's freaking closed. Did you know that? Did you know that grocery shops like close and they take all of the groceries inside the shop? They don't just leave them out because then they're gonna run out of oranges and bananas and stuff. They take them inside. They just take the crate with all of the groceries, put inside, close the door, down the blinds. Doesn't look like a grocery store anymore, does it? It looks like an abandoned warehouse. It looks like a crime syndicate corporation. I don't know. It does look like a grocery store. It does not look like a grocery store. And I see this, and I see the guy, and I realize, and he realizes, and he looks at the grocery store, and he looks at me, and we start laughing, and do not stop until like 5 minutes later. We got nervous laughter that lasted 5 minutes. This might have been the longest nervous laughter of my whole life. I realized how stupid I have been, but I was at the place right next to my house and I didn't even, He realizes how stupid he has been, but there was the grocery store just outside, but it was closed and I didn't see it, and he forgot it basically, that it never occurred to him that I could possibly be right outside my house and be looking for it. So he disregarded the grocery store but was just right there. And we're just laughing and laughing and laughing for like a very long time. I mean, if it went a little bit longer, it could have been a medical emergency. It was almost that. I would have called for help if it lasted a little bit more. After we have managed to calm down a little bit, the guy says, not only you were going right here, not only, but there is a door in the back of the bar that leads you straight to the elevator. Like, you weren't next to the building. You were inside the building. You were inside your building that you were going to. Like, if you went out this door, and he showed me the door. He was like, yeah, here, this is the door. This is your stairs. You can go home now. That's it. You were like 10 meters from your literal stairs. You didn't even have to remember the code of the door. I was like, I remember the code of the door. Yeah, but you didn't have to remember the code of the door, okay? That's the point here. You could just go up the stairs, literally. I mean, just saying this again, living this again, it's so funny Now, now, it's so funny. It wasn't so funny at the time, okay? But there is still a question that you would be very much legit and fair to have at this moment, which is, okay, but how did I not recognize the guy at all that I met just 3 days ago? Because that's how long it was. It was just days, just a couple of days. How is it possible that, like, do I retain faces so badly that much? And the answer is yes and no. So, yes, I do retain faces poorly. And yes, when you're in another country, you meet a lot of people. And so, those days in Paris, I met a ton of people, especially a lot of comedians. Like, in just a couple of days, I met like probably 50 people or something. And when you meet a lot of people, it's easier to forget faces. But, and most importantly, the guy cut his hair. Okay, so I'm just gonna let you be the judge of that. A guy cuts his hair. In my books, not the same guy anymore. They might as well change his name. He needs a new ID immediately. That is how I see the world. So because the guy cut his hair, I did not recognize him. Who would I have if he had the same hair? The question remains. I just realized this is not just the story of when I got lost in France, it's also the story of my first comedy show in English that I've ever had. And there's so much more about that. I could talk only about the comedy show and about like the scene in France, like particularly the English speaking scene in France, in Paris, when I found it, and you know how lovely it was and all those things. I could talk so much. I could have a whole episode only about this. I might actually do this at some point in the future. Either way, thank you so much for watching this, and have a lovely day and week. See you later. Goodbye.